Emmanuel Hostin, the husband of The View host Sunny Hostin, has been accused of widespread insurance fraud, and Sunny basically admitted to it on camera. Let's talk.
Like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life.
True sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of.
Hostin just got hit with a legal hurricane of epic proportions, and guess who's doing the cha-cha in the eye of the storm? None other than Gutfeld and Kat Timpf, who are roasting her harder than a turkey basted in subpoenas. Sunny's husband is allegedly neck-deep in a $450 million fraud case, and Gutfeld and Timpf are serving up punchlines richer than the offshore accounts in question. This scandal isn't just news, it's performance art. And what Gutfeld and Timpf just delivered, it was less commentary, more comedic demolition. If your jaw doesn't drop, your lawyer's probably Sunny.
You look tantalizing. You know, I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered.
3 years, that's when I discovered Instacart, and I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well, and it's so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insufferable.
Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases.
Probably woke up that morning thinking it was another glorious day to sit atop her self-constructed throne on The View, sipping latte-flavored righteousness and serving a steaming hot take on why America is perpetually failing her standards. Her usual morning routine: sprinkle in some virtue signaling, sigh dramatically at the masses, and scold the audience like a disapproving high school principal. But karma showed up with a news bulletin and a megaphone. Because just as Sunny was gearing up to lecture the nation on ethics and morality, the headlines dropped like a divine gavel. Her husband was facing charges in a fraud case so massive, it made Bernie Madoff look like a kid cheating.
I just want to hit myself in the face so I can feel something. You know, it's like so boring. He's like, yeah, I like Instacart, but don't worry, I tip the poors. But, you know, Joy, you actually don't like Instacart, and you do like the store. And then Joy is like, yeah, I do. I like to go to the store. I like to walk around and see what's at the store, what I do want, what I don't want. Maybe I want tuna fish, and I just want...
What if Dave Canplo-eyed? They devoured it. Greg looked like he'd just discovered hypocrisy aged to perfection. He didn't just throw shade, he carved it into fillets and plated it with gourmet sarcasm. It was less a segment and more a Michelin-starred takedown, complete with snark. Oh, just Kat took one look at the breaking news and laughed like she'd been waiting years for this punchline to land. This wasn't just comedy, it was catharsis, and they knew it.
It's about The View. It's like it's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest.
Kat didn't flinch. She saw this train wreck coming down the track like a runway model in designer scandal. She grinned as Sunny's halo disintegrated under the unforgiving spotlight, exposing the glittering tiara of contradiction beneath. Let's face it, if hypocrisy were a high-end brand, The View would have its own luxury store, and Sunny would be its top-grossing influencer. Because you don't get to play moral monarch 5 days a week and then pull a disappearing act when your household starts resembling the back half of the Wolf of Wall Street. That's not how ethical branding works. That's not even how basic decency works.
The witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently the frauds have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
Said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he?
Really, who is he? I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
Never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
Next, Joy's gonna say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch at Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named Ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's.
Wasn't just juicy, it was cinematic. It had all the plot holes of a bad Netflix thriller. Only the screenwriters were Karma and Gutfeld's team of satirical assassins. Greg even pitched a new segment idea for Sunny, Allegedly Yours, where she delivers preachy monologues from behind a curtain of subpoenas. Kat, in her signature deadpan delivery, quipped Fanolia plotline on The View that doesn't feel like emotional jury duty. Their commentary wasn't just finite, was forensic, slicing through the illusion of moral superiority like a scalpel, and when that bloated ego bookshelf collapsed under its own weight. Greg and Kat were already pouring cocktails to toast the collapse.
All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31.
31 Emmys?
This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines.
Brand of televised virtue was sinking faster than a co-host trying to explain supply chains without cue cards. Greg, ever the mischief maker, strolled through the wreckage like a smug cat knocking over priceless heirlooms and blaming the dog. Kat, meanwhile, looked like she'd found the remote control to a self-destruction documentary she didn't know she needed. Her smirk said it all this was going to be good. She dissected Sunny's fall from grace like a science teacher analyzing a failed volcano project. Her tone, clinical, detached, and devastating. She even mocked The View's performative solemnity, suggesting they rename the next segment Financial Crimes and Finger Wagging. How to be loud and still say,
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
Never one to miss an opening, raised the absurdity to Olympic levels. He joked that Sunny's next appearance should feature a spinning wheel of selective outrage, fraud privilege, media amnesia. Spin to see what we're ignoring today. Meanwhile, backstage Mustov looked like a telenovela crashing into a White House press briefing. Producers whisper screaming into earpieces, frantically queuing up distraction topics. Someone mentioned Meghan Markle. Quick, and those co-hosts, suddenly struck with compassion fatigue. The same crew who could smell a conservative misstep from 600 miles away, were now lighting candles for privacy and muttering love and light, which we all know is daytime TV code for we've called legal. And we're praying Joy doesn't improvise. 0. This wasn't just a Sunny scandal. It was a detonation inside an entire media machine that built its empire on self-congratulation and selective accountability. Gutfeld and Kat didn't just criticize. They turned The View into a piñata of pretension and swung with the force of every viewer who's ever rolled their eyes at a Joy Behar monologue, because when your show exists to churn out sanctimony, and one of your main torchbearers is caught in a fraud case, it's not just a credibility issue, it's a GPS malfunction. They weren't mocking a moment. They were exposing the operating system of elite hypocrisy. And America. America watched with popcorn, watching to see if The View could spin this without rewriting the laws of physics.
No, I'm also not surprised that there's one part of the video from the show yesterday that you left out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can you roll that, please?
I don't watch the show that much, but I've seen it.
Who is that? Who is that?
Greg Gutfeld's one of the hosts of the Five. If I don't have anything nice to say, I generally don't say anything at all. I would just say this: the show should be called Kat Timpf, not Gutfeld, because she's the funny one on it.
Somebody's flirting with little Kat over here.
Well, she's the Republican one at the table. But I just think as a libertarian, I'm always looking to find common ground with other people because nobody really shares my politics. So I find some common ground in The View where she thinks I'm funny and I agree.
And let's talk about the scale of this alleged fraud. This wasn't a parking ticket or some clerical oopsie. This was a financial firestorm with enough zeros to make a Bond villain blush. Kat didn't miss the chance to jab at the network's glaring silence. No panel debates, no orchestra of gasps, just a quiet shuffle past the scandal like someone had spilled wine on the rug and decided the new color worked better. Imagine if this were Meghan McCain. There'd be an emergency ethics summit, a primetime exorcism, and a musical number from Whoopi about accountability. Greg, never subtle, painted the contrast so vividly you could see the hypocrisy tap dancing across the stage in Broadway sequins. Kat added her own kicker, not even a peep from Sunny herself. No dramatic speech, no truth to power, soliloquies, awkward silence and jazz. Hands down.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say in The View because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist.
Sarcasm to full blast. This wasn't commentary, it was theater. Irony had tap shoes and was pirouetting across Sunny's sanctimonious history like a ballerina on Judgment Day. He didn't suggest a GoFund please, how gauche. No, he proposed something truly American, a national popcorn fund. Because if we're going to watch hypocrisy implode on national TV, we deserve snacks. Then he delivered the kicker. Forget law, forget daytime TV. Sunny should pivot to fiction. Clearly, she's got the range. Her public persona, built on legal wisdom and moral outrage, now reads like a screenplay where the legal expert forgets to look at her own bank statements. And The View. They responded with their usual, a group hug and a blackout.
You know who just stunk up The View. The Bidens joined The View this morning for the entire hour. The audience was caught off guard, but knew something was up when they saw a dozen Secret Service agents and 2 embalmers. There were a few awkward moments, though, when a confused Joe asked if he could bid on the showcase. But was he surprised?
And that are. I can be silent. If don't look now, it's still tap dancing across the studio. Kat took a jab, so sharp it might require stitches. She joked they should rebrand the show The Skew, for its uncanny ability to twist any scandal into a clumsy cocktail of size and softball questions. Greg, ever the showman, closed with the hypothetical that everyone was thinking, what if this had been me? Or Kat? They'd be cancelled so fast, Joy Behar wouldn't have time to forget she was supposed to let them speak. The double standard wasn't just alive, it was thriving, spinning, and high-fiving producers backstage. And let's not forget, this isn't even their first scandal. The View has become a glittering gift basket of gaffes wrapped in moral superiority. But this was the piece, de resistance. And Greg and Kat didn't just laugh, they plated it, served it, and garnished it with a triumphant smirk.
Easy. That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years. They're turning on me. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by The View's gravitational pull.
For id, Where I can be in Quasidu Birat Kalo. Cordon Greka Decade, The View continues spinning like a washing machine stuck on the deflect and deny cycle. Spoiler alert, the storm isn't going anywhere, not with Gutfeld and Kat on the mic, armed with sarcasm and receipts. Because this was never just about one scandal. It's about what the scandal exposed. A toxic ecosystem of smugness, where accountability is a foreign language and hypocrisy is sold in bulk. While Sunny's legal team is probably doing breathing exercises and lighting aromatherapy candles. The rest of us are watching the sanctimony collapse like an overcooked soup. And Greg, he's already in the writer's room, scripting the sequel. The View 2, Judgment Day now with real consequences.